It all began on a cold Thursday evening, the kind of night when silence feels too heavy and the clock ticks too loudly. My husband Daniel told me he had a business meeting at a downtown hotel. It wasn't unusual, he often worked late, but something in his tone, something in the way he avoided eye contact, felt off. He kissed me on the forehead before leaving, just like always. But that kiss felt different, colder, mechanical, rehearsed. I told myself not to overthink, but when someone you love changes, your soul notices before your mind does. A few hours later, I received a call. It was from Sarah, my husband's secretary and my longtime friend. Her voice trembled. "Emma, I shouldn't be telling you this, but Daniel didn't go to a business meeting tonight. He booked a room at the Grand Hill Hotel, and he wasn't alone." My hands went cold. The world stopped spinning. "Are you sure?" I asked, barely able to breathe. She whispered, "I'm so sorry, Emma." I saw the reservation myself, room 407. I sat in the dark, staring at my wedding photo on the wall. His smile, once my home, now felt like a stranger's. For 10 minutes, I didn't move. I couldn't cry, I just froze. Then something inside me clicked, not rage, not hatred, but clarity. If this was true, I deserved to know. I grabbed my coat, my car keys, and drove through the rain. Every red light, every thunderclap felt like the universe daring me to stop, but I didn't. I had to see it with my own eyes, because sometimes pain needs proof before it can heal. When I reached the Grand Hill Hotel, my heart was pounding so loud it drowned out the rain. I parked across the street and waited. Then I saw it, his car, the same black sedan he took every day to work. And then, seconds later, I saw her, a young woman in a red coat, laughing as Daniel held the umbrella over her. He looked happy. The man who once told me I was his world was smiling at another woman the way he used to smile at me. I clenched the steering wheel, tears blurring my vision. I didn't storm in, I didn't scream, I just watched, because in that moment I realized truth doesn't always destroy you. Sometimes it frees you. Then slowly an idea began to form in my mind, quiet, cold, and clear. I wasn't going to confront him, not yet. If he wanted to play games in the dark, I'd bring the truth to light, and he wouldn't see it coming. That night I didn't sleep. I sat in my living room, staring at the clock, listening to the rain slowly stop outside. The pain was sharp, but the silence was sharper. I kept thinking about one thing, truth. For years, I had stood by his side. Through debts, through losses, through everything. I gave him my loyalty, my love, my patience, and in return he gave me a lie. When the sun finally rose, I made coffee and a plan. If Daniel wanted to build his secret world in the dark, I would turn on the lights. Not to destroy him, but to make sure everyone saw who he truly was. That morning I called his mother, Margaret, a proud woman who always defended her son, even when he was wrong. Her voice was warm when she picked up. "Emma dear, how are you?" I took a deep breath. "Margaret, I need you to come with me this evening. It's about Daniel." Her tone changed instantly. "Is he all right?" I whispered. "You'll see. Just trust me." I called Daniel's sister next, Laura. She adored her brother, thought he was the perfect husband. When I told her to come, she hesitated. "Emma, you're scaring me," I said quietly. "It's time you see your brother without the mask." By the afternoon, I had arranged everything. A quiet dinner reservation at the very same hotel, the Grand Hill. The staff at the reception didn't question me when I said, "I'm Daniel Moore's wife. Can you tell me which room he's in?" They looked nervous, but one of them whispered, "Room 407, the same number Sarah had given me." I booked the restaurant downstairs for 6 people, Daniel's mother, sister, uncle, and aunt. They thought it was a family dinner. They didn't know what was coming. That evening I dressed carefully, not for revenge, but for closure. A black dress, simple earrings, calm face. I wanted to look like the woman he betrayed, not the one he broke. When we arrived at the hotel, Margaret smiled nervously. "So what's this about, Emma?" I smiled back faintly. "Just wait." We sat at the table near the large window overlooking the city. The air was thick with confusion and quiet anticipation. Then I turned to the waiter and said calmly, "Please send a message upstairs to room 407. Tell Mr. Moore that his family is here waiting to meet him." Margaret frowned. "Room 407? But that's not..." And before she could finish, I added quietly, yes. He's not alone. There was silence, heavy, sharp, the kind that feels like a blade pressing against the truth. Minutes later, the elevator doors opened across the lobby, and there he was, Daniel, stepping out, confused at first, until he saw us, until he saw me, and beside him, the woman in the red coat. His mother's face turned pale. His sister gasped, covering her mouth. The room froze. For a moment, no one moved, not even me. I simply looked at him, no words, no tears, just the silence of truth. He stammered, "Emma, But I raised my hand. "No, Daniel, don't explain. Not to me, explain to them." His mother turned to him, her voice trembling with disbelief. "Daniel, what is this?" He couldn't speak. His lips moved, but no words came out. The woman beside him, the mistress, tried to step back, but it was too late. Everyone had seen, and that was all I needed. I didn't shout, I didn't cry. I just stood, looked him in the eye, and said, "Now you don't have to pretend anymore." Then I turned and walked out, leaving the truth behind me, exposed, undeniable, and loud enough to echo forever. The hotel lobby was silent after I walked out. But silence doesn't mean peace. It means everything that was once buried was finally out in the open. I could still hear the echo of my heels against the marble floor as I stepped outside into the cold air. The night sky was heavy, and so was my heart. Inside, I knew Daniel's world had just crumbled, but mine had already fallen long ago. As I waited by the entrance, I saw through the glass doors Margaret's trembling hands, Laura crying, and Daniel standing frozen, ashamed, speechless. The woman in the red coat, his mistress, had already disappeared, like a shadow that never wanted to be seen in daylight. For a moment, I thought I'd feel satisfied, but I didn't. There was no joy in truth, only quiet destruction. Margaret came outside moments later. Her eyes were filled with tears. She approached me slowly. "Emma." I didn't answer. She whispered, I'm so sorry." Her voice cracked as she said it. "I thought my son was perfect. I defended him when everyone said he wasn't good enough for you. I was wrong." I placed a hand on her shoulder. "Don't apologize, Margaret. The truth doesn't need an audience. It only needs a moment." She nodded, silently, broken between shame and love for her son. Laura, his sister, stepped outside next. She was furious. "How could he do this to you, to us?" I looked at her and said softly, "He did it to himself." Then she hugged me, tightly, desperately, like someone trying to hold together a family that was falling apart. When Daniel finally walked out, I didn't move. He stood a few steps away, his face pale, eyes dark, hands trembling. He looked like a man who had lost everything and was just realizing it. "Emma, please listen to me." I turned toward him slowly. "Why? So you can lie again?" He took a step forward. "No, I swear I didn't mean..." I cut him off. "Didn't mean to? You meant every message, every lie, every night you spent away from home pretending to work late." He swallowed hard, trying to speak, but his mother's voice broke through. "Daniel, stop. You've done enough." He turned to her, eyes red. "Mom, please, I love her." She shook her head. "You don't destroy the people you love." For the first time, I saw him crumble. Not as a husband, not as a liar, but as a man who finally realized the cost of his choices. He fell to his knees, whispering, "Emma, I made a mistake. I thought I could fix it before you found out." I looked down at him, not with hate, but with exhaustion. "You can't fix betrayal, Daniel. You can only learn from the ashes." I turned and walked toward the street, leaving him there, surrounded by the ruins of his own actions. Margaret didn't stop me. Laura didn't either, because they knew sometimes walking away is the loudest way to say enough. That night, I went home alone. The bed felt empty, but not lonely. The silence felt heavy, but not unbearable. For the first time in years, I could breathe. I poured myself a cup of tea and looked out the window. The city lights shimmered, reflecting off the rain-soaked streets. And I realized something. You don't heal by punishing others. You heal by choosing peace over pain. Before going to bed, I took off my wedding ring. It left a small mark on my finger, a reminder of everything I'd been through. I placed it on the table and whispered to myself, I may have lost a husband, but I found myself again. 3 days passed since that night at the hotel. 3 long, sleepless nights, filled with unanswered calls, unread messages, and an echoing silence that hung over everything. I didn't cry, not because I was strong, but because my tears had already dried long before the truth came out. The house felt hollow. Every picture on the wall, every piece of furniture, every quiet corner, all whispered reminders of what used to be. I sat at the dining table with a cup of cold tea when I heard a knock. Slow. Hesitant, I didn't have to look. I knew it was him, Daniel. He stepped in quietly, his clothes wrinkled, eyes swollen from lack of sleep. He looked smaller somehow, like guilt had stripped him of everything he once was. "Emma," he said softly, "please, can we talk?" I didn't respond. I just stared at the clock ticking on the wall. He walked closer, placing something on the table, a small box. "These are the keys to the apartment." I moved out. I finally looked up at him. He looked defeated, but behind the exhaustion was something else. Regret. Real, painful regret. He sat down across from me, folding his hands nervously. I answered quietly, "Start with the truth, the whole truth this time." He exhaled deeply, shaking his head. "I met her a year ago, at work. It wasn't supposed to mean anything. I thought it would fill something missing inside me, but it only made the emptiness worse." He looked at me, desperate for forgiveness. "You didn't deserve any of it. You are the best thing that ever happened to me." I didn't interrupt. I just let him speak, because sometimes silence is the only response that hurts enough. He continued, "I was weak, Emma. I kept lying to myself, saying I'd stop. But every lie became easier. And then you found out. You didn't just expose me to my mother, you exposed me to myself." He lowered his head, his voice trembling. "I hate who I've become." I studied him quietly. The man sitting before me wasn't the one I'd married, but the one life had revealed. "Do you know what hurt the most?" I said finally. He looked up, eyes red. "Tell me." I swallowed hard. "It was that you made me question my worth. You made me think love was supposed to hurt." He pressed his palms to his face, crying, "I'm sorry. I don't expect forgiveness. I can't live knowing I broke the woman who gave me everything." For a moment, I saw the man I'd fallen in love with. Not perfect, not pure, but human. And for the first time, I didn't feel hate, I felt pity. Not for him, but for what we both lost. I stood up slowly, walked over to the shelf and picked up a framed photo, our wedding picture. We looked happy there, innocent, untouched by life's cruel lessons. I handed it to him. "You can keep this. Maybe it'll remind you of who you were before you forgot how to love." He took it carefully, like holding something fragile. "Emma, is this goodbye?" I looked him in the eyes and said softly, "It's not goodbye. It's closure." Narrator, gentle, emotional tone. He stood there for a long time, unable to move. Then he nodded, wiped his eyes, and whispered, "Thank you for not hating me." He turned and walked out. The door closed behind him with a soft click, a sound that echoed louder than any argument we'd ever had. That night I sat by the window again. For the first time in years I felt free, not from him, but from the need to fix what was never mine to fix. I had spent years patching holes in a boat that was already sinking. Now I finally let it sink and learned to swim on my own. Forgiveness doesn't mean going back. It means letting go, so the weight of the past doesn't drown your future. I closed my eyes, whispered a quiet prayer, and allowed myself to sleep, not in fear, not in heartbreak, but in peace. The morning after Daniel left, the house felt strangely lighter. The silence that once felt suffocating now sounded peaceful. It wasn't empty anymore. It was mine. I made myself a cup of coffee, opened the curtains, and let the sunlight pour in. It felt like the first sunrise after a long storm. For months, I had lived in the shadow of betrayal. Now, for the first time, I felt the warmth of freedom, quiet, steady, and healing. I went back to work the next week. My colleagues looked at me with cautious sympathy, but I smiled. Not the kind of smile you fake to hide pain, but the one that comes when you finally stop fighting what's already gone. Each day, I rebuilt myself piece by piece. I took long walks after work, started painting again, and visited my mother every Sunday. She'd look at me and say, "You look stronger, Emma," and I was. Because I had finally realized something life-changing. Healing isn't about forgetting the past. It's about learning that it no longer controls you. One evening, months later, I received a call. It was Daniel's mother. Her voice trembled as she said, "Emma, I just wanted to thank you. You may not believe it, but what happened that night, it saved my son." I froze. She continued, "He stopped drinking, left that woman, and started therapy. He said you showed him who he really was, and he's trying to be better." I listened quietly, my heart calm. "I'm glad," I said simply. When the call ended, I sat in silence. There was no anger left, no tears, no longing, just peace. Forgiveness had done its work. That night, I opened my journal, something I hadn't touched in years, and wrote down one sentence. "Sometimes losing someone is how you find yourself again." It was true. I had lost a marriage, but I found my strength. I had lost trust, but I found clarity. I had lost us, but found me. Months later, I was invited to speak at a women's event about resilience and starting over. As I stood before the small crowd, I took a deep breath and began. "I once thought my life ended when my heart broke. But the truth is, that was the day it began." Faces in the audience softened. Some nodded, some wiped tears. We all wait for others to save us, to apologize, to change, to come back. But healing doesn't start when they say sorry. It starts when you say, "Enough." The room was silent. I smiled, feeling the warmth of my own truth. After the event, a young woman approached me with tears in her eyes. "Your story, it gave me courage to leave someone who keeps breaking me," she said. I hugged her tightly and whispered, "You'll thank yourself one day, I promise." When I returned home that evening, I stood by the same window I once cried beneath. The stars were bright. The same stars that once watched me break now watched me rise. I looked at my reflection in the glass and smiled, not because I forgot the past, but because I finally understood it. Every heartbreak, every tear, every sleepless night, they weren't punishments. They were lessons. Lessons that taught me how to love myself louder than anyone else could ever silence me. Today, when I see Daniel sometimes at family events, we don't exchange anger or bitterness. Just a polite nod. Two people who once loved and now simply wish each other peace. He lives his life, I live mine, and that's enough. Because not every story ends with getting someone back. Some end when you finally get yourself back. So if you're listening to this and you're holding on to pain, betrayal, or regret, remember this. You don't need to destroy others to find peace. You only need the courage to walk away and believe that what's meant for you will never require you to beg or break. Forgiveness is not weakness. Letting go is not loss. It's freedom, pure and powerful. And as I closed my journal that night, I finally whispered to myself, I am enough.